Hi, everybody. This is Beverly Buncher from the BALM Institute. And I, like you, was invited to come to this wonderful first online family recovery conference, and I want to welcome you. Before I get started, I want to thank Shelley Young, who came up with this idea that is really revolutionary. The idea of having a one-time event just focusing on family recovery. Everybody's been saying for years, families make all the difference, but very few of us out there are actually doing the hard work, boots on the ground, of helping families to make that difference. And Shelley wants every family everywhere to know about all the possibilities for families, so that they can choose that which most resonates with them and their family. So here we are today, and Shelley, I just can't thank you enough. And also Pam Landhart. Pam works with families in Minnesota, and she has been helping Shelley all along the way. And it has been my complete and total pleasure and honor to meet these two strong women who have committed themselves to helping families. I'm just awed by their commitment and their calm. They're amazing human beings. I'm excited, as you are, to see all of the presenters and to learn more about all of the sponsors. And I'd like to thank them for being a part of this, which is so important to all of us who are families. And I'd also like to give a shout out to all of the BALM families and coaches who have grown using the BALM method over the years. And they've often benefited their families as a result, and the many families that they work with. Today, I'm here to talk to you about three ideas very near to my heart: love, connection, and transformation. These are very important concepts in family recovery. They're core concepts. And in the BALM method of family recovery, we take them seriously and we teach families how to utilize these concepts to make recovery a reality in their lives, and often in the lives of their loved ones. Just like any recovery community, we would never guarantee that if a family does X, the loved one will definitely get and stay in recovery. None of us can guarantee that. But there's a lot known today about what works. And we're looking forward to sharing that with you. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. That's my professional picture, and then a picture of my husband and I a couple of summers ago. I've been married for, I guess, 33 and a half years to the love of my life, Alan. And we have a daughter and a granddaughter and a son and a daughter-in-law. And that's really the core of what's important in my life. My family gave me the gift of learning how to be more loving. Sometimes I'm more successful at it, sometimes less successful at it. As we've moved through life together, Alan and I have done our best to help people. And if you've read my book, you know our story. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But at this point, I'm a person in long-term family recovery. I am an author and educator. I'm the founder and director of the BALM Institute for Family Recovery and Family Recovery Life Coach Training. And I'm an ICF BALM certified life coach. Again, the most important jobs I have: wife, mom, grandma, and friend. So I'm going to give you some heads up about what we're going to go over today in this talk so that you know what to expect of me. First, I'm going to share with you what we've proven in the field about what works to help a family move toward recovery. Then pull back the curtain and give you an inside look at the BALM approach, our secret sauce, 7 C's, 12 principles, 7 steps, and even a tool to take away with you to use with your family. But really, that will come in my smaller presentation. So in the keynote, I'll mention the tool, but come back to my other presentation and you'll learn how to use it. Then we'll talk about why people choose to become BALMers and why you might want to also. You'll get to see if this resonates with you so you can decide if this is a path. That's the wonderful thing about this conference. A lot of us are sharing our paths, and here you are with the opportunity to check us all out and make a decision about what's best for you and your family. Finally, we'll talk about the BALM's holistic approach to family recovery coaching, why it works, why it's revolutionary, and how it's changing lives all over the world. So the first thing I said I'd tell you, this is what we know about how to move a family's recovery forward. First, I'd like to talk to you about the family's role. What we know is that when the family gets well, the loved one has a much better chance of getting into, staying in recovery. No guarantee, remember, but a much better chance. And so often families come to us in the beginning and say, this isn't my problem. What are you talking about? They told me to talk to you, but please, this is his problem. This is her problem. And I'm here to say tonight that what we know is, no, it's not his or her problem. It's our problem. We as a family can solve it together, but not in the way you may think. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Another thing we know about how change happens. A lot of people think, oh, my son's going to treatment. Now everything's going to be okay. So it's really not about one experience. Treatment is a beginning, not an ending. Only about 10% of our loved ones even get into treatment. And that's something our advocates are really fighting for, so that our family recovery advocates and recovery advocates, that everybody who needs treatment should get it. And there are a lot of different ways to get help. And we want to make sure that every loved one, we call the person with the use disorder the loved one in the BALM program, that every loved one gets the help they need. Change happens in stages, and we know that today for the loved one and for the family. The other thing that we know is that love and connection make all the difference. Love is the answer. And you may say, oh, but I've always been loving. I am love. I'm about love. So the things that are loving to be and do when you don't have a loved one with a use disorder are very different than what you sometimes need to do when they do have a use disorder. And we know what those things are. We know the loving ways that are more helpful. We also know that connection, being close to each other, is very important. Not hovering. No. Not being stuck like glue, but staying close. We know that that works, and that's important for a family and a loved one. The other thing we know is that peace matters. I'm an educator. I was a school principal and a curriculum person for a lot of years. And we used to explain, and the research shows, that a person's emotional state when they are learning will determine how well they learn something. So as family members, we get the opportunity to empower our loved ones to learn new ideas, new ways, to consider a new path. And when we come from peace, that radiates to them. We know that today. Another thing we know is, and this goes with the last one, the old behaviors don't work. Screaming doesn't work. Yelling doesn't work. Meltdowns don't work. Begging doesn't work. Pleading doesn't work. Tough love doesn't work. These are not behaviors that are most likely to help move a family's recovery forward. We also know that self-care is extremely important. It's important for a lot of reasons. It's important for your well-being as a family member, but it's also important because when your focus is on you, it gives your loved ones some space to have their focus on them. But we're not saying, see you later. No, that we know that's not true. Take care of yourself and be there for them, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We also know there are a lot of tools to empower the family recovery journey and the recovery journey. And we know that loving, healthy relationships can result in a family that that understands family recovery, how change happens, love and connection, peace, that drops the old behaviors, that takes care of self, that uses these tools. The result can be loving, healthy relationships. And we know that it's a holistic process. The family impacts the loved one, and when all recover together, there can be peace and harmony in a family where there wasn't any before. There can be long-term recovery. And now, so that's what we know in general about family recovery. And now I'd like to tell you about the BALM approach. In the BALM, we like to say, and we believe, that family recovery is a dual process. We help families get their lives back, and we teach and coach them on how to help their loved ones get their lives back as well. We provide a community of learning and support for families. It's a full year of learning. There are video classes, live and recorded, interactive discussion formats, and workbooks to reinforce the learning. We also offer PowerPoint lessons, one-on-one and group coaching, buddy calls between the classes, small group learning, large group learning, books and manuals, demonstrations, practice in pairs and small groups, and the students teach each other to reinforce learning. We like to say that we're a fast track to family recovery. And this is an old pyramid. If you're an educator like me, you're probably familiar with the National Lab Learning Pyramid. They did research and they found out that retention rate varied based on what types of practices were used. And as an educator, I'm aware of this. And so when I developed the BALM, and with the help of others, of course, we made sure that we included all of these different modalities in the program. And if you can't see the slide, I'll just tell you. Lecture, reading, audiovisual, demo, discussion, practice doing, teaching others. As you go down this pyramid, there's more and more retention. And we're really about retention because this is learning for life. This isn't book learning so that you can pass a test. The test is living life in such a way that the people whose lives you touch become healthier and better for having been in your life, and that you do as well. We have a three-prong approach to teaching the BALM. And we look at it this way. To be a loving mirror, which is the core of our program, and you've heard me say BALM, that's what BALM stands for. It takes information, transformation, and support. In the BALM, the information comes through the 12 principles, the transformation through the 7 steps, and the support through one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and journaling. As I started to share, we have 3 main learning organizers in the BALM. 7 C's, 12 principles, and 7 steps. We call them the 7 BALM C's, the 12 BALM principles, and the 7 steps to be a loving mirror. Let's start with the 7 C's. And you may recognize these if you're an Al-Anon. The first 3 are borrowed, and the 4th one is flipped on its head. And then we add 5, 6, and 7, and they're part of the unique secret sauce of BALM. The first C, you didn't cause your loved one's use disorder. The second, you can't control your loved one's use disorder. And the third, you can't cure your loved one's use disorder. Now, Al-Anon originally said that the 4th C was, but you don't have to contribute to it. And that's true. We take it a step further, turn it on its head, and say, you can contribute to your loved one's recovery. And that really is what our whole program is about. So we say you can contribute to your loved one's recovery, and here's how. And we teach that in the BALM. The 5th C is very important. It's about reducing stigma. You are connected to your loved one on a level deeper than their use disorder. And I'll never forget the first parent who said to me that that 1 C made all the difference. She held on to it. She held on to it for dear life. She had stigmatized her son. She felt stigmatized. The disease felt stigmatized. And when she realized that the connection she had with her sick son was so much deeper than this use disorder that he was struggling with, it made all the difference in the world. She looked at him through new eyes, and their relationship began at that point. The 6th C, you can learn how to communicate with your loved one. The BALM, if nothing else, is a program of communication. And you'll see as we go through the 12 principles and the 7 steps what I mean by that. And finally, you are always at choice. You're at choice right now to say, I don't believe a word she's saying. You're at choice right now to say, this may all be true, but you know what? I didn't cause it, can't control it, can't cure it. I'm out of here. But you're also at choice to say, I didn't cause it. I can't control it. I can't cure it, but I can contribute. Okay, let's figure that out. What does that mean? How's that going to work? Because I do want to make a positive difference. And what I've been doing so far, it seems to be keeping my loved one alive, but is it? And am I really helping? So let's start with the BALM 12 principles. I'd like to give you frames within which to understand things, and understand that this presentation is just an overview. The whole thing is just an overview of a robust 1-year program that families dive into. We always say it takes what it takes in recovery. It takes what it takes. You know, I wrote this book, BALM, the Loving Path to Family Recovery, and you see it all behind me. And for some people, they read that book, and that's all they need. They've got it. They have it. They're doing it. Some people say, wow, that's a lot. I think I need some help. And they decide to enroll in the BALM. And some people say, I need more help than that, and they get a coach as well. And some of us say, I need a lot more help than that, and we become coaches so that we can have the transformation that the BALM provides and then be available to help others. Very powerful, as all of you know here, when you help somebody else, you grow so much more. So anyway, the 12 principles overview. The 12 principles have 4 parts. 1, the attitudinal shift. 2, action. 3, building relationships. And 4, be a loving mirror. So the BALM 12 principles, the first 4 are the attitudinal shift principles. I'm going to say the real principle out loud, and you read along here to see what it basically is saying, and then I'll repeat it for people who might not be able to see it. So principle 1, the family has a crucial role to play in a loved one's recovery. In other words, it's not their problem, it's our problem. Let's solve it together. Principle number 2, change happens in stages. Principle number 3, let go without giving up or giving in. And in the BALM program, we talk about letting go of the obsession with the result that we want more than anything else in the world, knowing that unless we can let go of the obsession, we won't really be able to help because we'll be too caught up in our upset. So when we let go of the obsession, we can focus on the things that can help, and we have the inner strength to not allow ourselves to be manipulated by our loved one's hijacked brain. And principle 4, you can be your loved one's best chance at recovery. In order to do so, you need to get out of denial, stop enabling, set some boundaries, use your leverage, and practice the BALM. Then there are the action principles. The first one is principle number 5. When you take your focus off of your loved one and put it on yourself, you will both benefit. We had a wonderful speaker come to the BALM. Every week we have these amazing speakers on the BALM, experts in addiction, recovery, youth disorders, medically assisted treatment, 12 steps, smart recovery. We have family members and we have loved ones, all kinds of specialists come in and talk so that the families are exposed to a wide variety of programs and ideas about family recovery. So anyway, back to the point. So we had a visitor on who was a treatment specialist in California. And he was talking about the idea of letting go and taking care of yourself. Because when you're not taking care of yourself, because you're too busy taking care of your loved one, I don't have time to take a shower. How can I? He's so sick. I have to take care of him. When you're not willing to take care of yourself, and all of your energy is focused on your loved one to the exclusion of your own self-care, something happens in that relationship that isn't healthy for either of you. Self-care is critical. And when you begin to take care of yourself, all of a sudden, you know on that X-Files, where is it X-Men? And there's that guy with the claws that come out of his fingers. And I imagine it like a family member who isn't in self-care, is totally obsessed. It's like they have their claws in the shoulders of their loved one. And when they start to practice self-care, the claws come out. They may pat the back, rub the back, but they're not clawing them. And imagine claws in your shoulders, and the claws are removed, and oh, I feel better now. I can think. We allow our loved ones to start to think about their lives through this process. And of course, that's not the only thing. You know, some people would say, self-care is it, let them handle it. Let go and let God. We don't say that. Not that we don't believe that there are times to let go and let God, but we don't say that we take care of ourselves and let them take care of their own recovery, their own figure it all out. We don't believe that. We believe that we take care of ourselves and we're there in the ways that are helpful. And we let go of the ways that aren't. But we let go of the tight hold on them, the grip that doesn't allow them to shake it off and figure out their own life. It's something worth thinking about. And then there's principle 6, be loving. And it really goes like this. Your primary task is to be a loving person. To be a loving person. What does that mean anyway? I'm a loving person. I do whatever he wants. I'm there for her all the time, 24/7. I drive her places. I talk to his PO. I mean, I'm there. No. Being loving means something different in the BALM. It really does. It's about loving ourselves, taking personal responsibility, and allowing our loved ones to take personal responsibility for themselves. It doesn't mean that we don't help, but we learn the difference between enabling and helping, and we're Johnny on the spot if it's helpful, and stepping back when given the opportunity to enable. Example, your adult child is in jail and they call you to bail them out. If you're able to get to a lawyer or a drug court and help them move into a treatment program, that would be helping. If you just bail them out so they can come on out and use drugs some more, we would call that enabling. Now, this is a general thing. You have, in the BALM program, you have a coach. You have a whole community of people to talk to. You have a lot to learn. So the things that I'm saying may not apply in your case, but being loving is about learning what helps in recovery and what doesn't, and really stopping the things that we have done that are really helping to kill them rather than truly being loving. So the 7th principle, everybody says set boundaries. Hey lady, you got to set boundaries with this kid. But are you ready to set a boundary? In the BALM we say, don't set a boundary unless you're determined to stick to it. When families come to us, often they're not quite ready to set a boundary. So we educate them. We help them get the attitudinal shift of the first 4 principles that you learned about, and then they get into action. And by the time they get to 7, they're moving towards being ready to set boundaries. But if they're not, we say don't do it. So what is a boundary anyway? A boundary is something you do to take care of yourself. It's you deciding what you will and won't tolerate. But the thing about it is, if you set a boundary, Jim, when you walk in at 3 in the morning, it wakes me up. I can't go to work the next day. I'm exhausted. And he walks in the next morning and you just go on your way and you don't stick to the boundary. Might as well have not set it. Don't set a boundary unless you're determined to stick to it. We'll show you how. And the 8th principle, getting support will greatly enhance your recovery. In the BALM, we know we're not the only show in town. You can see we're part of this big program with all of these different approaches. And we're really big on helping you find the right support for you. We provide you with a community, and in this principle, you learn all about the many different kinds of support that are out there for families and for loved ones. And principles 9 through 11 are about relationship. Really, the whole thing is about relationships, isn't it? And we say that we invite you to explore and heal your relationship with your spirituality, to heal your relationship with yourself, and heal your relationship with others. And these 3 are ongoing all through our lives. We're growing in these areas, and they can make a tremendous difference. in the quality of our lives and our ability to be there for our loved ones. Finally, we say that be a loving mirror is the journey and the destination. I used to say, if you're practicing these first 11 principles, then you'll be a loving mirror. And when I trained my first group of coaches, they cornered me. They said, listen, Bev, what does that even mean? You'll be a loving mirror. The people are learning this stuff, but it's just knowledge. It's not really helping them. And when you work with a family, you seem really able to help that family move ahead, have powerful conversations with their loved one, get them into treatment, do the next right thing. And we don't really know how to do that. And that's when I realized that the process that I had been using naturally over several years with my clients needed to be codified. And that's how we came up with our transformation piece in the program, the 7 steps to be a loving mirror. And you may be wondering, Bev, you've been talking about be a loving mirror, be a loving, what even is that? So, that 12th principle, we say that be a loving mirror is the journey and the destination. To be a loving mirror is to be calm, to be loving as we defined it, and to be a mirror. A loving mirror is able to look someone in the eye, share the facts with them in a calm way, in a loving way, and if necessary, set a boundary. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll be explaining that as we go. So there are 7 steps to be a loving mirror. And the first 3 are the ongoing transformational steps that we have throughout our life. We transform in 1 through 3 our inner relationships. And in steps 4 through 7, we transform our relationships with others, particularly our communication skills. And there are some essentials for the practice of the 7 steps. The first is always coming from love. The second is total respect for your loved one, for the other people in your life. The third is just stating the facts. No embellishment, no opinion, no concern. You may state your concerns as facts, but not like this. With a loving, calm tone. If you're not using a loving, calm tone, you're not in that moment practicing the Be a Loving Mirror program. So let's take a look at these steps. The lifelong self-transformation steps start with step 1. Be the peace you wish to see in the world. Here's where we teach families mindfulness techniques, invite them to go back into their spiritual faith communities, to prayer, to meditation, to whatever it is that will help them to bring down the temperature. There's so much upset and chaos in families where there's an active use disorder. And we want peace, we want inner peace, but we say, I'll have peace when he gets well. It doesn't work that way. First, you be the peace. You be the peace that you want to see in him, in her, and we'll show you how. Second, observe the world around you objectively. So often we're watching and judging other people. You won't believe what he did. He walked in, he walked across the floor, he was staggering, and he fell over, and he passed out. Can you believe that he did that again? I just told him last night not to behave that way, to stop going out and drinking with his friends, and he came in and did it again. Now, that is not an objective observation. That's, upset, emotion. In order for the 7 steps to be a loving mirror, to be effective, you want to get to a point of being able to observe what you see and hear your loved one say and do. Do and say. objectively. So last night, he walked in the room and he staggered. I saw him swaying from side to side. And then he just sort of collapsed and fell over. I checked his pulse, but he passed out. That's an objective observation. It's just, now we're not saying don't get help. If your loved one needs help, you get help then at that moment. But what I'm talking about is being able to observe what you see and hear, so you'll have the mind to be able to do what needs to be done. Now, being able to observe objectively comes on the heels of being the peace. And the third thing that helps an awful lot is becoming aware of your inner emotional landscape. So if you observe the world around you objectively, that doesn't mean that you're not feeling upset, that there is no upset. You may be very upset, right? So the third step comes along to give you lots and lots of tools to deal with your emotions, to work them through. Every one of our steps has 5 to 10 to 15 tools for you to work through. And a lot of them are in the 12 principles as well. The 7 steps are sort of the active manifestation of the principles. Information is the principles. Transformation is the 7 steps. So those first three steps, as I said, that's ongoing self-transformation. Be the peace, observe objectively, become aware of your inner emotional landscape without judgment. Oh, I can't believe I didn't do it right, or oh, I can't believe how I feel. I was objective, but now you may have some really difficult feelings to deal with. This is a difficult situation. Let's not, make it seem easy. It's not. And sometimes it takes a lot of support to get through it in a helpful way. So now let's look at that, transforming the communication with your loved one and with others. So you're observing objectively in step 2. What we ask you to do is document what you see and hear, just the facts of what you see and hear. He walked in, his body swayed back and forth as he walked, and then he folded over. And there's a very specific reason we want you to observe and document objectively. If you're seeing odd behavior once, we invite you, rather than attacking the person, to just document it. The second time, document it. The third time you have a pattern. Here's a caveat. If it's dangerous what you're seeing in the moment, deal with it. So we're not talking about you see someone overdosing and you document. I guess that's pretty obvious. But you're documenting what you see and hear your loved one do and say. And you're looking for patterns. And then you script a loving conversation. And we have a template for that conversation in the BALM. And your coach will help you, and the other people in your class will help you in the 7 steps to BALM. And it's an 8-week course. It runs every 8 weeks, and people in the BALM community often take it twice or 3 times. You can script the conversation, and then your classmates will help you, your teacher will help you, but you will have a buddy that you work with in between classes, and they'll help you too. And if you have a coach, that helps even more. And then you take that conversation, and at the right time and in the right place, you have a loving conversation with your loved one. And there's a lot more to this than it seems like. So I don't know if I'd recommend that you just go and do this. The book can help, as I said. We lay out how to do this in the book. For many of us, that's not enough. But if it's enough for you, it's enough. Just do what you need to do to be able to be a loving mirror with your loved one. So you have that loving conversation at the right time, in the right place, and if necessary, set a boundary. In the beginning, when we were teaching this method, we said that 99% of these BALM conversations do not need a boundary. It's changed as the use has escalated in so many families. Sometimes we need a boundary. We need leverage and boundaries much sooner. But at the same time, the BALM conversation is like a drip, drip, drip. It's not something you do instead of having an intervention in an emergency situation. If your loved one's situation is escalating and you need help, your BALM coach is going to help you get the help you need. We are not the be and end all. We don't claim to be interventionists. For that, you need somebody like Shelley. But what we do is we help families start to have powerful conversations with loved ones that start to open their loved ones' eyes. We say that these BALM conversations go from heart to heart, under the radar of the loved one's denial. It's a very powerful conversation. Oh, if we had time, I'd tell you some stories about these 7 steps. You know, our coaches took this out into the world to help families with it. And, you know, a lot of our coaches are in long-term recovery, and they started to tell stories about using this in other places, at their work, in their community, with their children's principal and other people like that. Very powerful. The 7 steps to be a loving mirror go well beyond helping a loved one with their use disorder. And they're very powerful for doing just that. So we've talked about information and we've talked about transformation, the third part of the BALM program. And we call this the BALM Comprehensive Family Recovery Education Program. And it's comprehensive because it includes information, transformation, and support available to you for 1 full year. And some families go in and out of it, and some families start on day 1 and stick with it until they got it. And then if they have a difficult time, some families will just do it every day for 3 months and then come back once in a while for refreshers. It really depends on what you need. So the support piece includes coaching and journaling. We have a weekly journaling workshop. It's called Journal Your Way to BALM Recovery, and it deepens the learning. It's private growth in a community setting. And this particular course is available to families and also to the loved ones who are in a parallel BALM program. And then, of course, there's coaching support. We have 50 BALM coaches now, and they're life coaches who specialize in family recovery and in recovery. And some of them offer the group coaching on the BALM Comprehensive, and all of them are offering private coaching, and we have coaching through our program, contract coaching, so that a family can come in and get the BALM and a BALM coach. And you can do that privately through a coach. You can go on the internet and look up BALM coaches, or you can come through us and we will help you find the right BALM coach for you and your family. So you may wonder, why join the BALM Comprehensive? You've just told me everything right here. Why do I even need it? If that's all you need, go for it. But if you need more, let's talk about why people join the Comprehensive and see if it's anything that could help you. The first is we believe that love is the answer. And the BALM is a proven method for helping families turn the word love into empowered action for the benefit of their loved one and their family. The second is connection is the key. The year-long length of this program allows families to work on improving their loving connection through an online community of education and support. We have 6 to 8 online live classes going on every week. And in addition, we have over 450 recordings of past live classes and, interviews with experts and families and loved ones and people from support communities. And then We have the transformation course, 7 steps, and the group coaching. And we also teach about the importance of connection to your loved one. This isn't about, you do your thing, I'll do mine. This is about, let's grow. Let's grow together. Let's learn how to do this thing and be there for our loved one in the most positive, educated, loving way possible. The third thing we know is that transformation allows the family and loved one to grow together. As I said, the 7 steps to BALM provide families with a step-by-step process to create loving communication and better relationships in their home. That's worth something, isn't it? People who take that course, as I said, often take it again and again. That's where transformation happens in the BALM, and families report great change. Sometimes after only a couple of weeks of being in the BALM, and sometimes it takes a bit longer. Sometimes the real deep change happens in the family member, and the loved one doesn't get recovery, but the relationships still improve. It's a program based on love, connection, and transformation. And families who grab onto it and practice it have tremendous results, at the very least, in their own lives. Also, the BALM is a comprehensive approach to family recovery. We have courses and coaching for the family, and courses and coaching for the loved one. This allows everyone in the family to learn and speak the same language of recovery. And finally, we have well-trained coaches who've gone through a substantial program, and they understand how to reach families and loved ones. We've developed a model of the developmental levels that a family goes through in their pursuit of family recovery, along with powerful tools, ICF accredited training, and the BALM as a path to recovery, allowing for an accelerated and effective family recovery process for family and loved one. Information, transformation, support, empower families to be a loving mirror. So you may be wondering, what are these developmental levels of a family pursuing recovery? Well, this is something that our coaches learn in depth, because knowing these levels allows the coach to know what to do when with their client. The client is going through this, you do this. If they're having this challenge, this is how you help them. It's not, it sounds, the way I'm saying it sounds recipe-ish, but it's really less than recipe-ish. It's just understanding. So many families, as they go through this process, are facing some of the same inner and outer challenges. And there are tools and processes that really help them move more quickly through them. So this is a holistic approach to understanding how to help families. It utilizes Prochaska's stages of change and goes well beyond it. The coaches are fully trained on how to speak to families at each level and how to help them move forward. And the BALM curriculum and the coaches' skills contribute to a family's accelerated movement through the developmental levels and the stages of change. So what is this substantial coach training at the BALM Institute that I've been talking about? It's a robust program. If you take the whole thing, it's about 14 to 18 months, and it includes the BALM Comprehensive, life coach training, family recovery life coach training, mentor coaching, business development, and a full year of coaching and being coached by another student in the program. This is the first and only International Coach Federation fully accredited coach training program to focus on recovery. And that means a lot in the world of life coaching. We really consider ourselves on par with the best of the best life coach training schools. We have, our curriculum has been vetted and helped to be developed by one of the top life coaches in the world, one of the person who owned one of the first 3 life coaching schools ever, who is well respected everywhere as a master certified coach. And she helps us to keep forward thinking, and we are cutting edge. Our coaches learn the PCC markers as they're learning how to life coach, and it's kind of, I'm getting too technical perhaps, but only 25% of the ICF accredited coach training programs are even using those markers that we are using in our program. So on the life coach training side, we are cutting edge. And on the family recovery coach training side, we are as well. I like to think, and I've talked to other directors of life coach training programs that focus in the recovery field. And, you know, we've agreed that there really needs to be kind of a step up, just like a person in the clinical field starts as a behavior tech, and then they might move to being a counselor and then a specialist. Right now, people who are peer support coaches, family recovery support coaches, recovery coaches in the peer realm, the only place they have to go, as far as they know, is to be a clinician. And we're here to say that's not true. If coaching excites you, this is a vibrant path for you. This is a professional life coach training path that will allow you to practice your passion of helping families and helping individuals with use disorder at the highest levels of life coaching. And there are 4 different ways to do this program. You can take the whole program, or you may say, you know, I really just want to be a life coach. You can do that. And you'll get those PCC markers in that part of the program. You can say, I'm already a life coach. I have my 60 hours. I want the family recovery piece. You can do that. Or you may say, I want a la carte. And you can do that. You'll find all this on our website, balmfamilyrecovery.com. We lay it out for you, including the pricing, so that you can see. And there is financing available. That's really important. A bank recently has agreed. We used to have financing a long time ago. It had huge interest rates, and I took it away because it was embarrassing. But now we have low interest rate loans for people who want to do this. And, you know, it's doable if it's something that you want to do. And we need so many coaches because there are so many families struggling. So we hope if you have that urge to raise up your career, you know, in this way, we hope you'll consider us. Check it out, see if you resonate with it. And the phone number, 1-888-998-BALM, option 2. You can call our admissions department, or you can visit the website. We also, as I mentioned before, have life coaching for families, loved ones, and persons in long-term recovery. And we have packages that are tailored to the needs of each client, including classes and support in addition to one-on-one and group coaching. Our BALM coaches are all over the world, and you can check out our website to learn more or give us a call to set up a complimentary session, and that would be 888-998-BALM, option 2. If if this all sounds so interesting, but, it's new to you, you're not really ready, check out my book. You can get it on the Family Recovery Conference website. It's called BALM, The Loving Path to Family Recovery. See if you resonate with our message. You're going to be learning about lots of different kinds of things in this conference. Maybe you're a balmer and you just don't know it yet. If you are, we'll welcome you, and we'll look forward to working with you, helping you and your family, and helping you grow to help others if that's the choice that you make. Again, I'm Bev Buncher. I'm available for speaking engagements, book signings, mini seminars, family recovery coaching and consultation, life purpose in recovery coaching and consultation. And also, if you have an organization that's trying to figure out how can we more powerfully reach families and loved ones, give me a call. Let's talk. My option is number 1, 888-998-BALM option 1, or you can call my assistant Tracy at option 2. Okay, everybody, it's really been great talking to you this evening, and I thank you so much, so very much, for opening your hearts and your minds to the message of the BALM program. I hope that I fulfilled the promise, and remember, come to the other presentation. I'll be teaching the clear, unclear method of moving from chaos to clarity when it comes to what's going on with your loved one. Take care, everybody, and remember, be a loving mirror. Bye.